about napping. We have the power nap. So to address your question, we have the power nap. The power nap is the short 15 to 30 minute nap. When you start to take a nap, you say, I'm going to nap for 30 minutes, maybe setting an alarm so that you wake up in 30 minutes. For the first 10 minutes, you're in what? What stage of sleep? Stage 1. You're beginning to just sort of get a little bit drowsy, association get a little loose. You move into stage 2. That's when the thalamus is toned down. That's when you'll emerge from stage 2, more focused, better able to concentrate. Good time to wake up. And so they believe, research is borne out, and it's continued to be researched, that if you take the 15 to 30 minute nap, you're not going to get into stage 3, that deep sleep, and because of the fact that you will have let your thalamus and your cortex and parts of your brain that could really use a break take a little breather, you wake up refreshed. So I strongly encourage you, since that can be done almost any time, to find a time, and it's nice to do it when roughly your body is aching for it anyway. But it's not necessary. If you find, in class yesterday, somebody asked a wonderful question. She said, I sort of am really interested sort of at some point in the day to really get my work done. I'm really motivated, but by the time I get home, I'm really sort of no longer motivated to do it. In fact, I'm really sort of tired. Well, it's only like maybe 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock when that happens, so what's she going to do? Well, perhaps a 15 or 30 minute nap at that moment could be extremely helpful. When I was in law school, and I did rather well in law school, which is why I want to share this stuff with you, I took a nap every single day at about 5 o'clock for about 45 minutes. My body was just saying I'm tired, and I liked to work until 10 or 11 o'clock at night because I really was getting my work done, but I wasn't wanting to do it when I was either way out on coffee or if I was just going to be forcing my way through it. So I found that nap to be extremely helpful. You may find that a 15 to 30 minute nap, especially when you anticipate, is that time of the day that you either tend to get tired or it's that time of the day that you happen to have. You may not be really tired at that moment, but you've got the time. You will wake up refreshed. And if you can do it during this time frame, then all the better. Now, here's something else about this time frame. If you can find your 90 minutes in here, you will get a full night cycle. You will get the stage 1. You will get the stage 2. You will get the stage 3. You will get the REM sleep. You will have in that hour and a half the opportunity to cycle through one complete cycle of each of those stages and the benefits that would come. You see, stage 3 sleep has that restorative quality. Our body gets restored, it gets rejuvenated, we do some healing, it helps immune function. There's lots of things that are going on if we can take some stage 3 sleep and bring it into the afternoon. Same thing with stage 4, or rather, not stage 4, REM sleep. There are lots of studies that have shown that when you study torts, and then you're going to shift over and study admin law, which you probably haven't gotten to yet, but when you shift from one subject area to another, especially if they're not so related, there's interference. Your brain is still trying to catch up with the first piece of information, it's still processing it, and now you're over on something new. There's been no real consolidation opportunity, and as a result, stuff is lost. To be able to put a space in between those two times could be very helpful for some integration of that material. The rejuvenation, the repair, the healing, the immune functioning, the alertness, the integration, the deepening of memory and learning. If you can study and do stuff here, get in a good chunk of that here, and then continue on, the research shows that you'll be as effective this part of the day as if you had a whole night's sleep. And part of that is because you've actually taken a complete piece of that whole night's sleep. The idea is really just not to wake up in the middle of stage, what? 3. You don't want to wake up in the middle of stage 3. And you'll learn. And if you do, you just need about a half hour of grogginess. So it's not like it's the worst thing in the world. You will come out of it. You will have benefited from things along the way. But you will wake up feeling like tired. And that's, when you have stuff to do, that could not be the most comfortable thing. But you can play with it and learn what time of the day. Because this cycle continues non-stop. It keeps playing out in your brain non-stop. Oh, the coffee nap. Okay, terrific. They've done some interesting studies that show, for example, that they've compared. They said, well, let's look at sleeping an extra 90 minutes in the morning. This is sort of what your experience is dovetailed with your experience. Well, let's look at that. So let's give some people a little extra time in the morning that they might actually even need. let's give them a 20-minute nap at 2 o'clock, and let's give them a cup of coffee at 2:30. And let's look at how they're performing and how they're doing. And they found that the most effective of those three was,
Extra 90 minutes.
nope, least effective. Least effective. Isn't that interesting? 90 minutes of sleep. Cut too far, you're sort of moving into this when that's not where your body really is, necessarily. They're assuming that the person's not exhausted. They're assuming that's just like, you get to sleep longer today. 20 minutes, nap, 2 o'clock, most effective. Cup of coffee, 2:30, next effective. Sleeping longer in the morning, the least effective. Now, it takes about a half hour, on average, perhaps, for a cup of coffee to be able to then do its little kick. So the idea was, well, what if we do a coffee nap? You take a cup of coffee, and it's not going to begin to affect you right away. So you do a half-hour nap, have it where you're going into stage 1 and stage 2, come out of stage 2, and you're alert from that process, and now the caffeine, not necessarily the worst of stimulants in the world, has kicked in. And coffee, we do know, gets the prefrontal cortex and the executive center functioning at a higher level. It pumps it up. So that's the coffee nap.